Hello, it's another episode of Let's Cook Pinoy Food with Carlo. Today we are going to cook sinigang. Sinigang is one of the Filipinos' favorite foods from the Philippines. It's basically a stew, and it's in a tamarind soup base. So it's one of the favorite dishes from the Philippines. So many Filipinos love this dish. And usually you serve it over rice. So today I'm going to cook sinigang with pork ribs. You can also use pork shoulders. You can also use shrimp. So those are some of the things you can use with sinigang. I do prefer pork ribs or pork shoulders. If you use pork ribs and pork shoulders, try to get a big package. Right, it's about 2 or 3 pounds, about a couple pounds of the pork shoulder or pork ribs. Here I've got pork ribs, so I sliced it into just little pieces this big, right? So I sliced it, I put it in a big vat, a pot, and filled it up. It's about 8 to 10 cups of water. And then I put in the pork ribs cut up into little pieces into the 8 to 10 cups of water, and then I add to it 1 whole onion sliced up. So just slice up an onion at the beginning and just pour it in there. You don't need to worry about it. Just cut it up in big chunks and just pour it in there. It's for taste, okay? The onions for taste. So I already put the onion in there about an hour and a half ago. So this pork rib with onions and 8 to 10 cups of water, that's all I put in there, has been simmering now for about 90 minutes. So an hour and a half, that's about the time you need it for it to get really soft. You know, the time, that's the amount of time you need for it to simmer so that the meat gets really soft and almost falling up off the bone. So I've already cooked this for 90 minutes. So that's pork ribs cut up this small with a whole onion in 8 to 10 cups of water for an hour and a half. Okay, that's done. Next, you want to look at adding your tamarind soup base. Okay, so this is Knorr's tamarind soup base. So this is the secret ingredient of sinigang. So in it, sinigang sa sampalok mix. So this is a tamarind based mix, and it's sour, but when you put it in the stew, masarap. My goodness, it's mouth watering. My mouth is watering right now from the excitement and what my taste buds are going to be like when I dig into this, right? So this is the magic ingredient, Knorr tamarind soup base. Okay, so you want to pour this in. Okay, so I'm just going to cook this now. I'm going to cook this now in real time. Okay. Put the tamarind soup mix in. Okay, you still following me? So we're gonna pour the whole thing in there. Some people just like to use half a pack, but for me, I like to pour the whole thing in there. So just pour it all in there, okay? So I'm pouring it all in there. And then I would like to add, actually, for vegetables, I like the eggplant. So we've got Chinese eggplants. I get about 3 of them, and then just slice them up really thin, and also a whole tomato. Okay, and just cut that into cubes, and you'll do that for about 10 minutes, right? That's after you did the 90 minutes of this simmering and the meat getting soft, and then you'll add the tomato and the Chinese eggplant to it for about 10 minutes, right, sliced up. And then last but not least, last 5 minutes, you want to add the bok choy. So bok choy. So again, tomato, eggplant, bok choy. Some people use string beans. If you like string beans, you can also add Chinese long string beans to this too, and you'll put it in at the beginning because you wanna simmer the hard vegetables first, like the tomato, eggplant, and the string beans will be harder, so you wanna simmer that for about 10-15 minutes. And then of course your leafy bok choy, you wanna wait for about 2 to 5 minutes, and then it's done, right? So I am gonna cut this up, and then we'll be back. Actually, I'll cut it up right now. All right, so I'm just cutting up the eggplant right now. All right, so you just want to cut it up. There's the eggplant. You just want to just add this to the mix, right? Some eggplant. And I'm gonna add the tomato. You see, you just want to cube this, right? Just cube it. Right? Just very, not too small, just. So as you see here, I had finished chopping up the eggplants and cubing the tomatoes, and I just added to the dish and just let it simmer for about 10 minutes. And then while that's simmering, then you can just take your bok choy and then just pull it apart one by one, right? All right, I'm back and I'm just taking care. As you saw earlier, I had sliced my finger, but I'm good. I'm fine. I'm all good. And I cleaned it up, so the bleeding has stopped. So I'm good. So here's the bok choy. So we're just putting the bok choy into its individual leaves. Just pull it apart. I already washed all these vegetables, so it's a good idea to wash all your vegetables before you put it in your pot. All right, so here we go. There's all the bok choy. So again, in the pot, you have the eggplant and the tomatoes simmering inside the pot, right? And it's been about, you want to do that for 10 to 15 minutes. Wait until the eggplants get soft. And after that, you can add the bok choy for about 2 to 5 minutes. And again, previous to that, you had the sinigang here. You already see it's very soft. It's almost falling off the bone. And I had simmered that for about 90 minutes, all right? And you see in the background here, you want to be also cooking some rice, so you'll have this stew over rice. So we've been cooking this eggplant. After we add the eggplant, we've been cooking it about 10 to 15 minutes, about 13 minutes right now in total. How you can tell that the eggplant is about done is you'll notice the skin of it starts turning brown. From the purple color. So once you start seeing the purple color fade to brown and you start seeing the inside starting to get soft, you know your eggplant's about done. So it's just at that point. So that's about the between the 10 and 15 minute point of adding the eggplant. Once you get to that point where it's turning from purple to brown and the insides are getting soft, then you want to add your bok choy. Okay, so you just add it. Just want to add the leafy vegetables in last, but you know, bok choy does have a hard part to it, so you want to cook it for about 2 to 3 minutes, right? Just add it here, and you just stir it in, and you're done, right? So another 2 to 3 minutes. This is your bok choy. It'll start to soften. And let it sit for about 15-20 minutes. Serve it over rice, and then you're done. And this, folks, is what sinigang looks like when it's almost done. I'm in the last minute, right? I'm in the last 36 seconds here. And this sinigang, after I let it sit and I pour it over rice in a large soup bowl, it's going to be masarap. All right, so this is the sinigang all cooked, right? So I showed you before, this is what it looks like. Now I'm just gonna plate it, right? So look at that, masarap. Look at that. Check that out. What do you think, Gianni?
Looks good.
So my son just arrived today, and he's gonna have some of this. Look at that. Check that out. Check that out. Check it. All right. So this is another edition of Let's Cook with Carlo, and we just cooked Sinigang. And tune in next time, so we'll cook another Filipino dish. Salamat po. Mabuhay.